Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Lucky Bamboo. Today we're meeting with Jared again. Jared, how are you this morning?
Good, how are you?
Good. Today I wanted to ask you to kind of just describe what a follow up appointment is, why we recommend them, what happens during those appointments, and why they're important to getting a tattoo.
Um, so, I guess to touch on the subject of why this is even a topic is there used to be some studios, not all, even 20 years ago. I mean, I wasn't one. I've never been in a studio that does this, but there were some studios and some artists that did gimmicky things like free touch-ups for life or free touch-ups on your tattoo, which many of us always thought that was crazy because number one, we know tattoos are going to need touch-ups. Number two, it cost money every time, so you're literally losing money now from the first time you did the tattoo, right? So you're setting up, you're spending your time. It's like, well, you might as well not even done the tattoo because now you could have had another paying customer. So from a business standpoint, it's idiotic, right? You're not making money when you're doing those touch-ups, and we know that tattoos are going to need a touch-up. So during healing, even just during the healing process alone, your body is pushing out lymph and plasma, which pushes out pigment. And the lymphatic system sees this as a foreign substance. It's trying to get rid of it, and you have ink loss every time you get tattooed. That's why the lymph and plasma is colored the predominant color of your tattoo, right? Whether it's black and gray, it'll be black plasma, and because the ink is literally coming out of the wound. So, and that is going to cause some amount of ink loss, which could affect contrast. It could affect saturation. Sometimes it's worse than others. There's so many factors that can affect it: the person's health, the person's lifestyle, the aftercare they did. Either way, it's going to need some amount of a follow up, right? And that's why we call it a follow up, because we know it's going to need it. And then you have the touch ups that are, more long term, where people are like, well, it's been a few years, I need a touch up, and well, we know that's going to happen too, because again, your lymphatic system is constantly at work with a tattoo, and then you have the sun, which is probably the biggest factor. Color seems to be affected more than black and gray when it comes to the body trying to remove the ink. And my theory about that is black ink is carbon based, color is not, and humans are carbon. So anyway, the follow-ups we know through the process of tattooing and healing that we're going to need to take a look at it and do more work and saturate it and fine tune it. And so we plan for that.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that, because I think sometimes people just think, oh, you just want more money from me on this tattoo. You already did the tattoo. Why do I need to come in again?
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare when I've had it happen just randomly a few times, right here and there, where somebody comes in and I can't find anything that I need to do on the tattoo. But that's few and far between when that happens. But larger pieces are even more important. I mean, it can happen on small ones too, but it does happen on small ones. To what degree just depends on all the possibilities we talked about, but all the variables. But a big one, like when I do a sleeve, it is different because there are some parts, maybe certain parts of the arm healed harder, like the ditch tends to. The elbow usually needs a second pass, things like that. But then it also allows us to go in and adjust contrast to look at the piece overall. Because I typically don't like to go with my darkest blacks until the end, and I can use that to boost contrast, so I don't ever start with my darkest blacks. And so that's another thing I like follow-ups for, is because I can assess the whole piece now that we're finished, adjust contrast, add the highlights. The highlights are the other thing I typically don't do to the end. So it's all contrast based and highlights. And that's a whole other side of follow-ups, but we're also still addressing saturation and areas that need to have more attention because of healing.
Yeah, no, thank you for explaining that, because like I said, I think some people just think, oh, well, you did the tattoo, why do I need to come back? So explaining, what happens during the healing process, and then allowing your artist to take a look and, like you said, maybe adjust some contrast or add, a little bit more detail makes sense, and that's why it's needed to do that follow-up appointment after it's healed to get the best tattoo that you're going to get.
Yeah, it's just making it better. Like some people might be like, well, it looks fine. Well, it's going to look better after the follow-up. So they just don't realize. Some people never come back for their follow-up, and because they think it looks great, but it would have looked better because we would have finished and adjusted things and did the final touches. So.
Yeah, I think that's awesome to explain that and maybe alleviate some concerns that people had, because I think the main concern if they hear a follow-up is, oh, you just want more money from me.
Yeah.
When in reality, you're going to get the best tattoo with that follow-up. So thank you for explaining that today. I think that helps a lot. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again.
Thanks.